Brexit, 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 free trade. Everybody's favourite phrases, especially at this time of year with Boris Johnson's free trade agreement Christmas present. Ha ha ha. My best Boris impression there. It's not quite as free as you might have thought or expected. Silver buying in the UK is in jeopardy. The competitive nature of businesses in the UK is in jeopardy. And the profound effects of this transition period ending and the supposed free trade agreements that we have just do not address VAT, sales tax. And the uncompetitive nature of that system is going to hinder businesses, small, medium and large, and individuals all around the world. Hello everybody, Backyard Bullion here, and a very warm welcome to you all joining me for what is going to be a moany, ranty ramble about Brexit, about free trade, and everything that comes with leaving this transition period in January. And I put the inverted commas there for free trade because that's really the crux of the matter here. It's not free. There is nowhere near any semblance of free trade happening post-transition Brexit period. And, you know, this misnomer of free trade that Boris Johnson very proudly announced on Christmas Eve, ho, 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 Merry Christmas, we've got you a Brexit deal, is, as I said, a misnomer. I think that a lot of people are taking what they're hearing and saying, yeah, you know, free trade, brilliant, we're there. We can buy whatever we want from Europe without any additional tariffs and trades. But they are neatly forgetting that tax, VAT, is still in effect. And that is the crux of the matter. That is what is going to really affect silver purchasing here in the UK. But it's not just going to affect UK people. It's going to affect small businesses in the UK. It's going to affect their customer bases, whether it be outside of the UK, even in America and the rest of the world. But more importantly, European customers. Competitiveness of small businesses in the UK is, in my opinion, really in jeopardy and at risk here, and it's not good. Now, normally I would steer clear completely of politically motivated videos and topics because I just don't like to alienate people. Now, I do want to put a caveat in here by saying I'm not trying to criticise the entire Brexit process and the entire Brexit movement. There are elements of Brexit which I am quite excited for going forwards, about having our own sovereignty back and being able to actually change some of these things which I might be moaning and ranting and, you know, rambling about in today's video. But unfortunately, I cannot see the current state of affairs changing for some time because of the hugely deep and impactful economic crisis that we're going through. There are significant issues afoot beyond Brexit, and it's just so low down on the priority. So it's going to affect businesses and people at a time when really we should be doing anything and everything we can to support businesses and people to continue to grow, to continue to trade as freely as possible. And that is just not going to happen in this Brexit deal. Now, as we go throughout the video, I do want to put my caveat there by saying I don't want this to become a politically motivated video. I am here to share my thoughts and opinions, and I'd love to get yours as well. So please feel free to comment down below with those thoughts and opinions on this entire process, because it is very complex, it is very convoluted. There are going to be issues which people don't know the answers to for some time. Their answers might well come up over the next couple of weeks and months, and I have a feeling that this is by far and away not going to be the only Brexit style video that I will make, certainly in 2021. This is very end of 2020, but 2021 is probably going to be the year of Brexit and its woes on this channel. But it specifically affects me and my business because I deal in silver. And a lot of you might be wondering, well, what real significance does that have? Well, the main problem is at the moment, if you've been watching my channel for a long time, you'll know that we can buy silver from Europe and have it imported into the United Kingdom without having to pay VAT. VAT is applied in the United Kingdom when a seller sells silver, but if you are large enough to be registered for VAT. But in Europe, in certain countries, that rate of VAT is lower. And in Estonia, it's 0%. So for the last 5-6 years of my purchasing of silver, we've been able to do it legally without having to pay VAT. And that's just a competition thing. You know, Estonia has these rules that you can use to get that free silver, or say free silver, that VAT-free silver. The United Kingdom, way behind in the Stone Age when it comes to silver buying. A lot of people knew that, serious silver buyers knew that, and it was always the case that UK bullion dealers focused primarily on gold. Silver was a bit of an afterthought and a very, very small market in comparison. Now that is changing because of the closure of this free trade agreement and the main, I say closure, this enactment of this free trade agreement post-Brexit. And the main criticism that I have, the main observation that I have about this deal that's been struck by Boris Johnson is that the VAT systems have not been harmonised. Now what that means is, and I'll use an example of something that's not made of silver. If you buy a camera from Germany, and if you bought this camera a couple of years ago before Brexit, you would pay the German seller the tax that they would charge, or they would be legally have to charge in their country, and the VAT would go to the German tax authority. Now what will happen is you buy that same camera, that same seller will not charge you any sales tax. They'll ship it off to the United Kingdom. They will have to do an export document, which is an extra burden on them. And then you will have to do an import when it comes into the UK. Now, you don't necessarily have to go onto the Gov website and fill in any forms or anything. Often that will just come from border control. They will open your parcel, or potentially open your parcel. They'll look at the export document from the seller in Germany. They'll then apply the VAT on that, and they'll charge you a handling fee depending on which courier or carrier they are having, Royal Mail or UPS. And that carrier fee, by the way, can be sometimes up to £20 per parcel. And if you're buying something that's only worth, 150 quid, that's a significant extra value. You then get charged the VAT, which then gets pocketed by the UK government. So the main difference there is the UK government is going to be pocketing all of this wonderful tax, which you might say is a fantastic boon and benefit of Brexit. But it's going to work against, I think, the competitiveness of the UK, because it means that you will basically have to buy from people in the UK if you want to avoid these import charges, if you want to avoid these additional fees, and I don't think that is going to yield what we want to achieve in this kind of post-Brexit trade agreement. This is all meant to be about free trade, free movement of goods. It is not about free trade and free movement of goods, because these goods will not be freely moved around the European Union. They will have border control, border checks, import documents. It can take a couple of weeks sometimes. And if you think about the drastic changes which are going to be happening in the UK border force and sort of tax collection side of things, there are going to be backlogs upon backlogs. And I guarantee you that there are going to be parcels that go missing, get lost, get stolen in the confusion. I can almost guarantee it. And it is going to be a bit of a nightmare, if I'm being completely honest. Now, that is all about importing. The biggest thing that I can foresee for the UK is the competitive nature of smaller businesses. Now, I can speak from experience here as a small business. I pour my own silver, and I will, of course, sell that around the world. I have customers in the European Union. I don't have necessarily the largest customer base in the European Union. I'd say my two large customer bases are the UK and the US, probably forming an equal part of about 35% each. And then the rest of that is the rest of the world, with maybe 10 to 15% of my sales to Europe. But it's still a pretty large number if you think about it in the grand scheme of things. Now, the major difference here is that any purchases from a European customer to a UK business, the same rules apply as if I was buying that camera from Germany. I will have to do an export document for my piece of poured silver going to that person, and then that person will have to pay VAT on it. Now, I'm not registered for VAT here in the United Kingdom, and that is a double-edged sword in a certain way, because it now means, of course, my material costs will be going up. I'll have to buy silver with the VAT attached to it to melt it, so I will potentially have to raise my prices accordingly to reflect that. And then secondary to that, the customer in the European Union will have to pay import VAT and the courier charges on top of that. So you're looking at a minimum of a kind of 40% price hike for European customers, which is just awful. And for me as a small business, I'm sitting here thinking, well, I like the products I make. I think the products I make are good. And I think the people that buy my products enjoy them for what they are. And that's fantastic. But also a part of me always wants to have the best potential opportunity for my customers to look to resell the things that they buy from me at some point in the future, potentially for a profit, even if they just get their money back, or get the majority of their money back if it was a higher premium item that they have to sell quickly. That's the goal for me. So for me to say to my European customers, yeah, guys, you have to pay like 40% more than you used to, and 20% more than everybody else in the UK and even in America, that's going to be a really hard sell. And I would almost not want to sell to people in the European Union on that very basis, because I think it would be too restrictive of a price point. But the whole point here is that the competitive nature of small businesses in the UK means that it is not going to be possible or practical for them to compete. And I think that's an absolute crying shame. I mean, my business is fortunate that it has a small proportion of European customers, but there are other small businesses out there that probably do not. And, you know, a lot of you might be thinking, well, hang on, this isn't really any different to what it was before. Well, no, in certain ways it's different because VAT isn't applied on silver in certain countries and you could source it VAT free. But if we use another analogy here, if you were just a regular business that was registered for sales tax in the UK before this, like selling a camera, let's say you're in the UK and you're a camera seller, somebody from Germany gets in touch and you're big enough to be registered for taxes, you would charge that person tax. They'd pay the tax on it as usual, fine, off you go. However, if you were a small business, if you were a craftsman, if you were somebody that doesn't have to register for VAT, you didn't charge that customer VAT in the first place. Now, you could have been undercutting the market and getting more business that way, or you could have been just having that additional revenue come in, just a little bit under the market value, but still having that additional revenue come in. That's gone now. These small businesses in the United Kingdom, which are facing the most uncertain times that we have ever seen, are now confronted not only with this massive economic fallout that's happening from all the COVID related lockdowns and tier 4s and, you know, closures of businesses, and yeah, all of that is now of course at risk. But now you're asking businesses to be uncompetitive compared with European counterparts. You know, it is awful. It is, I think, an absolute brownstorm, if I'm being YouTube monetization friendly here. I don't think that this is a good situation for UK small businesses to be in. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. I do want to sort of put this caveat out here by saying, you know, on the side of Brexit, on the side of things potentially getting better into the future, one of the benefits of this whole situation is that we can change the rules. We have now got our sovereignty back, and that's one of the things that I'm excited about. We can do and we can change things. But the realist in me says that the UK government will not. And the simple rule, or the simple reason I should say for that, is that we go back to that tax issue. We go back to the example of Joe Bloggs buying a camera from Germany. Before this, the tax authority in Germany got the money. After this, the UK tax authority gets that money. And if it puts you off buying something from Germany, it does wonders for UK businesses. That is the benefit. I'm not going to lie. It is going to force people, it is going to encourage people to buy British. And that's great. I like that idea. I'm a British business. I like that idea a lot. But at the same time, competitive nature of, you know, in me says, why should we be, you know, forcing our consumers here in the United Kingdom to buy something that might be more expensive here in the United Kingdom? We come back to silver, and we come back to silver because it is, of course, the primary focus of my business, of my channel. And I did a few looks around yesterday, and I was looking at buying silver from Europe, buying silver from America, and having it imported into the United Kingdom. Now, the difference at the moment is about tariffs. Now, tariffs are eliminated from Europe, which is good. Tariffs are different to VAT. So at the moment, it is still potentially cheaper to buy from Europe in bulk, have it delivered to the UK, pay the VAT, and have no import tariffs over a certain value of items. You sometimes have to pay 2.5% if you buy in bulk from, say, the United States or somewhere. Now, that is potentially going to change over the not too distant future as we negotiate tariff-free trade agreements with other countries around the world. There are, in fact, some already in effect and will be coming into effect as of January, which is great. When they do come into effect, and I have no doubt that we will get a tariff-free trade agreement with the likes of America at some point, it will mean that we can buy cheaper silver from America and have it imported with the sales tax. The interesting thing going forward will be whether or not UK bullion businesses, UK bullion sellers, recognise their lack of competitiveness on the silver market compared with the likes of other countries around the world. Now, part of the issue was, as I said before, Brexit. You could buy all of this silver from Europe at advantage rates. So the UK bullion business in silver was pretty much next to nothing. It was almost pointless in bullion dealers really trying to be competitive because you would still have this 20% hike on the prices. You were going to be uncompetitive by design. Now, that is not going to be the case from January the 1st. I look at some of the prices for individual coins on some of the biggest bullion dealers here in the United Kingdom, and they're charging well in excess of what other dealers in Europe might be selling. And even with the import charges, even with the tariff-free trading that gives you these coins, you're going to be getting better deals from Europe going forwards. I think that's a crying shame. And if the whole point of this Brexit trade agreement and everything is to protect UK businesses, to get people to buy British, then the British businesses have to recognise that they are uncompetitive right now and they need to change. So that's my kind of thoughts on that side of things. So I've done a big ranty ramble. This is, in my opinion, not a great time to be prospecting into 2021 as a silver buyer in the United Kingdom. If you are looking at getting into silver right now and you're in the United Kingdom, I think you need to wait. I think you need to just ignore this white shiny metal and buy gold. I think personally that is the only metal that anybody should be buying right now. I haven't even touched on to the fact that so the UK could abolish VAT, and let's talk a little bit about that in this last part of the video. Seen quite a few people over on the Silver Forum, and by the way, if you'd like to join in the discussion over on the Silver Forum, we have a really good thread going over there, so please feel free to jump over and share your thoughts on the forum. But a few people said, can we not petition the government to eliminate VAT on silver? Well, we could try, but that's not going to happen anytime soon, let me tell you. And for a few reasons. One, of course, the tax revenue is greatly needed right now. Second, I just can't see that getting any kind of traction, any support, any actual public opinion. Someone said that public opinion really doesn't matter when it comes to these things. But in my opinion, I think it really does, because when you hear MPs in Parliament talking about, oh yes, I'm going to do my Boris impression, we need to eliminate VAT on silver because all of these people who want to buy silver to invest in have to pay tax. That's going to be targeting people who've got the luxury of being able to invest in silver. And let's face it, general Joe Bloggs public who's not got an expendable income is not going to be bothered about that. They're going to be wanting to know what the government's going to do about furlough schemes, about COVID relief schemes, about the NHS, about all of these other things which affect them. Buying silver is the last thing on their, on their agenda, and that's, really, really evident right now. So if you did get a bunch of MPs, debating in Parliament, should we abolish sales tax on silver? No, I think that's absolutely not going to happen. I think the more likely thing to even happen would be, again with my Boris impression, we need to tax the wealthy. Well, actually, I think that would be more of a Labour standpoint at the moment. We'd get Keir Starmer saying, we should tax the wealthy by having, I can't really do a Keir Starmer impression, we should tax the wealthy by putting VAT on gold. Think how much money we could have on the sales tax of gold. And it used to be there back in the 90s, and it was only taken away by a European directive because it was uncompetitive and it was so difficult with different countries and people around the world selling at different rates of VAT on gold. So that is a potential and, in my opinion, not unlikely occurrence to happen over the next coming weeks, months and years. And if that happens, silver and gold will be almost completely dead here in the United Kingdom. Now, there is an added benefit to all of this, which I want to conclude. I want to conclude on a potential high, so to speak, a bit of good news, a good of, sort of some silver lining, I suppose, to coin a phrase. Now, the thing that a lot of people will say is going to happen is that because as of the 1st of January, the cheapest piece of silver that anybody in the United Kingdom can buy will automatically cost 20% more. It will mean that the second-hand market for the silver that you currently have in your possession will also increase. And I 100% think that is going to happen. I 100% think it's probably happening already over on eBay and Facebook. And I've even seen on the Silver Forum a little tick up in people's asking prices for bullion grade coins. That is going to happen. I think there are going to be people, I should say, that will look to cash out of their silver now. How much that is going to affect that second-hand market if you get a rush of people going and selling all of their silver that they can in the next couple of weeks and months, that will inevitably cause competition, which will bring prices down. So potentially looking out on the second-hand market somewhere other than eBay, in my opinion, will potentially be a good way to buy silver for the next couple of weeks and months at fairly decent prices. But then going forwards, I think there'll be this harmonization of lack of will to buy silver, and I think realistically the only place that anybody could ever look to cash out their silver would be on places like eBay, Facebook, where, let's be completely frank and honest, you're taking advantage of people that don't know any better, people that might have just stumbled across my videos for the first time, or Silver Dragons, or whoever it might be, Yankee Stacking, some of the coolest YouTube channels out there talking about silver, thinking, oh God, the economy's in trouble, let's buy silver. And you know, they rush out and they buy the first thing they can on eBay at a high price. It's kind of what I did in a certain way. But you know, it's one of those things where there's so much unknown. There is so much unknown going forwards that this video will, I think, not stand the test of time. I like to think that there will be changes that come out from this. Of course, there will be different interpretations of the reams and reams and reams of information that's coming out in the Brexit documents. And who knows is the honest answer. That's another thing which I want to talk about, is the uncertainty that comes. But that's a video for another time. I've rambled on for 20 minutes about this topic, and it's one that I feel very strongly about. And as I said at the start of the video, I didn't and I don't intend this to be disparaging against people who firmly believe that Brexit is a good idea. I do agree with some of the fundamental principles about Brexit being good for the United Kingdom, but at this current moment in time, I just cannot see how this trade deal makes the UK business sector more competitive, how it makes individuals out there in the United Kingdom, more flexible for their own purchases of silver, of gold, of whatever it might be, whatever product they might want to buy from Europe. It isolates us, it cuts us off from Europe, in my opinion, and it makes us less competitive on the global stage. That's my thoughts and opinions. I'd love to know yours, so please feel free to comment down below with what you think about this Brexit deal. There is going to be more videos on this topic coming in probably weeks and months ahead. It's going to have effects on our business. We're going to have to look to see how that unfolds over the course of the weeks and months ahead, but I'm sure we'll be sharing a lot more updates as we go. So make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you want to see some of these videos come out into the future. Otherwise, that is it from me today. A big thank you for you all for watching, especially if you've watched this, what are we at, minute 22 of this moany ranty ramble. I always love to hear from my BYB Rambling Society members, so please let me know down in that comment section if you've watched to the end. It's always nice to hear from you. Otherwise, have a very merry new year. The next video is going to be in 2021, which we are very excited about. Hopefully 2021 will be a much better year. So we'll see you then. Have a good one. And as always, please make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.